Is this the comeback album we've all been waiting for? This is the question I want to answer in this video, which is about the 23rd studio album by the band Deep Purple called Equals One. It was released on July 19th, 2024 through earMUSIC and Edel AG. I don't need to go into a big history with this band, and we all know that they are one of the biggest and most influential rock bands ever since Led Zeppelin, and even one of the first metal bands along with Black Sabbath. One of the main characteristics of this band is that they have had a lot of lineup changes, with the most popular lineup being the Mark II lineup. I don't know what to call this one, but it's the Mark II lineup minus John Lord and Ritchie Blackmore. So the first question we ask is, what does this band have to do for people to take them seriously? Because we all know the older a band gets, the more critical their fans become. You will always hear those people who say that this is not the real Deep Purple because there's only one founding member and it's only the drummer, talking about the legendary Ian Paice. But there are also members who are veterans of the band, Roger Glover on bass, Ian Gillan on vocals. And there are only really just two new guys, or one semi-new guy and a really new guy. Don Airey is on keyboards, and he's been in the band since 2002. So people know him very well. And they have this new guy that not many people know about. His name is Simon McBride. He's a newcomer in the band. He replaced a longtime guitarist, Steve Morse, and also the youngest guy, who's only 45 years old. And he's in a band with guys who are all in their mid to late 70s. So how is this new guy going to convince the older fans that he is worthy of being in a band of this caliber? One option is to try to emulate Ritchie Blackmore, so that will give fans a sense of nostalgia, but no, that's not going to work. So he didn't do that. He basically played his ass off, and he showed the world that he has what it takes to play in this band. His solos are very intense, especially track number 2, a bit on the side where he really shreds on that song. He also plays along with Don Airey on keyboards on most of the songs, and he has an awesome intro solo on one of the album's slower bluesier tracks called If I Were You. And he plays the blues very well. His solo is actually compared to Gary Moore in a review I read at rockandbluesmuse.com. So therefore, with all these awesome solos and guitar riffs, I think he's able to convince the older fans that he is worth his weight. But keep in mind, this band wants this to be the comeback album that fans have been waiting for. They have to make an album that people will remember, because after 23 studio albums, they don't want to make something that people are going to listen to the first month or so and then forget about it. They want to make a difference. Making a great comeback is not going to be easy. I think they only did it once in their career, which was Perfect Strangers, or maybe twice if you want to count Burn from 1974. But it's a different time. These guys are getting up there in age. They're not going to have many years left to make an unforgettable album. So here's the second problem. What do they have to do to make the great comeback album? Well, the other question is, how are they going to please their fans and stay relevant at the same time? So I think one thing they wanted to do is create an album that sounds like their older stuff, but still remain fresh. There's one thing I noticed. I'm not sure if it's intentional, but I think it is. It kind of sounds like a conspiracy theory, but hear me out on this. A lot of the song titles use the same words as some of the most recognizable songs from their most popular albums. Now, I'm not saying they wanted to make a part 2 of these songs, but they just want to kind of plant seeds in your mind so that you think of these old songs. So here's some examples. The song Portable Door could be taken from Knocking at Your Back Door from Perfect Strangers. Pictures of You was taken from Pictures of Home from Machine Head. Lazy Sod was taken from Lazy from the same album. And the song No Money to Burn, which mentions the 1974 album. There could be more, but those are the ones that I thought of. But by planting these seeds in the song titles, the older fans will start to think of the old days of the band. Now, they're just song titles. What if the music is not good? So the next thing they have to think about is, how do we make great songs that people will remember? They chose to make some songs that were reminiscent of their classic sound from their most popular periods. This sound can be heard on songs like the aforementioned track number 2, A Bit on the Side, with a very memorable hard rock guitar riff. Then the single, Portable Door, That was a very classic sounding song, and the song Lazy Side, another single that had a boogie rock sound, similar to the 1974 album Burn. Now You're Talking has a sound reminiscent of the Machine Head album with a fast rhythm, almost comparable to Highway Star. Therefore, their way to keep the older fans interested was to write songs that sounded like their classic style. Now here's another problem. They still want to make the best comeback album of their career. What are they going to do to get new fans to listen to the band for the first time? Well, they're going to have some lyrics that are relevant. One example of this is the song Pictures of You, which is about how all these Instagram models like to use filters on the pictures in the point where they're almost unrecognizable. Then the song Lazy Side, which is about climate change and how people feel helpless and unable to do anything about it. Their goal was for young people to catch one of their music videos on YouTube and wonder, who is this band that looks like their grandparents rocking out? I think this was the way of attracting younger fans to check out the band. Now you may be wondering, what about Gen X? So have we forgotten about Gen X? No, they haven't. The opening track, Show Me, has an almost 80s glam metal sound. Then there was a song called Old Fangled Thing, and a reviewer at Blabbermouth compared that band, or that song, to the band Clutch. Now, after this, what is one more thing they need to make a really great, memorable album? Because so far it sounds like they're just trying to bring back their old sound and not bring anything new to the table. That was the problem that Black Sabbath suffered when they released their supposed comeback album called 13. So what does this band have to do? They have to add another element to the sound, so I believe they tried to add more of a progressive rock sound on this album. This album has a lot of keyboards that can be heard along with the guitars. Sometimes the keys play along with the guitars, and other times they have both keyboard and guitar solos. But I think the most progressive rock song on the album was the last song, called Bleeding Obvious. The song had lots of tempo changes. It had some heavier keyboard sounds, had some guitar playing. There were harder and softer parts. So, in conclusion, was this the comeback album we've all been waiting for? I would say yeah, although it's probably not going to be as significant as Perfect Strangers or Burn. But for a band so late in their career, it's an awesome later day album for a band of this type. So therefore, I would say that it's a great album. My score is an 8.5 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts on the album. In the meantime, they released the covers album 2 years ago. I reviewed that on my channel, so if you want to check it out, stick in that one right there. Thanks for watching. Please like this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please hit the bell for notifications. You can get updated every time I upload a video. And subscribe, and you can find me on Facebook and TikTok, links in the video description. I'll see you in the next one.